A very good morning once again, and you are still watching Sunrise at Sea here on CTV. Thank you for staying tuned and welcome to our views. My name is Agi Oase, and today I'm joined with, I'm joined by three ladies. To my far right, there is Sarah Apollo, and then Shivan Auma, and seated right next to me is Miss Elon Chiwumulo, and she is a teacher as well as a psychologist. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Good Happy Monday and Happy New Week.
We're excited.
Well, as kids head to school today, actually others did head to school over the weekend on Saturday and Sunday. And today we'd like to weigh in on the conversation of homework. Some people have said homework is not as essential, it's not necessary for school-going children, whereas others do argue that it's actually a good thing. But let's get to it. Homework, first of all, is the time students spend outside the classroom in assigned activities to practice, reinforce, or apply newly acquired skills and knowledge, and to learn necessary skills of independent study. Now, some studies have found that too much homework is associated with greater stress. 56% of the students considered homework a primary source of stress, and according to a survey, 43% viewed tests as a primary stressor. And also 33% put the pressure to get good grades in that category as well. So today, ladies, I'd like to ask you to start with, what is your take on homework?
It should remain at school. Why are we carrying schoolwork at home? There is a reason why you go to school and there is a reason why you go home. I mean, that is why we have parents, or we have people in this day and age and era where you carry your work that you are supposed to do in the office and you carry it at home and you do not have time for your children. In the same way, I think children should be allowed to do all the studying and all the outdoor activities in form of homework, whatever it is, at school. And when it's time for home, they're able to relate with their parents as well. I mean, I went to Kampala Parents and they used to give us homework, and I would reach home and I would be so tired, but you would have to do that homework. For very many children out there, all they do is Google the answers and put them there because they are so tired. How will they have time to relate with their parents? How will they have time to relate with their younger ones? How will they rest when they are supposed to answer 50 questions per subject? Meanwhile, not neglecting the fact that in some schools they give 4 subjects every single day. So what is the point of going back home? Then they should rather stay at school. Because the reason as to why you take a child to school and then later pick them, especially if they're in a day setting, is so that they can relax their minds. It doesn't make sense. And it, for me, did not help me.
How about you, Ms. Elon?
Now, of course, this is a challenging question, especially the fact that I'm a teacher. And yes, I'm a teacher and a parent. Okay. And there are things I purpose to do. As a teacher, I hate marking work from home. I hate carrying my baggage to mark work from home, and that is a system I've operated with for years, and it's worked for me. I love homework, yes, but I happen to cut across. I'm a teacher and a psychologist, and there is something that really bothers me about homework. Okay. I feel the homework that is supposed to be given to us is not about academics, because that is our time with children. That is our bonding time. That is how we continue parenting, you see. If it were homework that was directed to my attachment to the child, assuming it were homework probably related to cooking, because that is cooking, yes, that is mommy and daddy, family, yes, connected to family. That's the homework I would really go in for. But any academics, math, those things I hate. They are stressors. They are stressors, and they're not helping us. Actually, the schools are not fair for the parents. They're extending their work to us. They would just support our work in our department, because that is a parenting department. Homework is home. That is our office as parents. So why do they carry the extension of their academics in here? They just have to support our parenting, our family time, our bonding time in the home, not extending their academics to class. I'm sorry, you know, teachers won't be teachers won't be very happy with. They won't be impressed, but that's my take. Really, homework in the house, it should be related to my office as a mother, you know, as family. That's what I would take, not not math. Yeah. So that is me.
Sarah, would like to get your input.
For me, I'm for homework. I'm for quality homework. I do understand that when children are piled up with a lot of work, it just, tips the balance of school and work. I mean, school and home and family time. I understand that. I do understand it can, cause them stress and, just make them fatigued and whatnot. So I also understand it can take away from family bonding time. But I am for quality homework, just like Miss Eleanor said. Quality homework that is going to activate their senses, their thinking, that is going to trigger their interests. Like, give them arts and crafts projects, to take home. Give them tasks to help at home. Go help mommy, help daddy, just do one task at home with daddy. Come to school tomorrow and then tell us what you did, what you felt about it, did you like it? I mean, that is a lot more productive and also gets the child a lot more involved and understand that there's a whole 360 approach to learning. It's not just, squares, triangles, mathematical equations, and history lessons. Do you understand what I mean?
Yes.
It could be something like, go home and ask your mom or your dad about your lineage, your clan, your tribe, your culture. That is homework. That is productive homework. That is quality homework. I am for homework. Let's just do it the right way, because it also increases family bonding time. You get to know about your parents as well. So let us do it the right way, and let us not give just quality, and the thing is that with our school syllabus, especially here in Uganda, it's that it just promotes cram work as opposed to thoughtfulness, thinking and, problem solving. They're just telling you this, and it has to be that. My son was given homework. I went through his exam questions and they asked who the head of the family is. He put mommy. He got it wrong. So I think we also need to upgrade the school system and what our children are taught, so that our children are allowed to express their reality in the classroom as well. Not that this is what school teaches you and it's what is supposed to be at home. It's never the case.
Yes.
It's rarely the case these days. You get?
Before we go into the next question, for me, I think homework, I'm all about no homework whatsoever, because if I'm to give you my experience back in school, I remember you've had, you've been at school you go to school actually very early in the morning. Right now, kids go as early as 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And you are there. Yes,
That's
kids
true.
are always in shuttles going
That's
to school,
true.
especially day scholars, or day scholars rather. And others, there's morning prep if you are, in boarding school. And you are at school until 5 o'clock in the evening, and then the shuttle picks you up, and then you're headed home, and you have like about probably 2 hours, because they are dropping off different kids at different places, and then you get home when it's coming to 7 o'clock, and you have to shower, you have to eat, you have to catch up with your parents, you have to probably watch TV, I don't know, like so much, and then there is homework to do. Like for me, it was always a stress, and guess what? As always a defaulter the next day, I was penalized so many times for that. So for me, it was a stress. And I think it did, the way this study showed that it impacts negatively on the children or kids' mental health, because there's so much stress of, you've gone through a whole day of studying science, biology, SST, whatever the case may be, and then you have to go back home, and instead of relaxing from school, from a long day at school, you have homework on top of that, and then you need to rest and get ready for the next day. So for me, I'm all about, no homework whatsoever. However, it does have its advantages. So let's look at them before we get into the next question. First of all, homework promotes self-learning. Students get more time to review the content, and this is a big advantage of homework. It also promotes continuous learning, as students can revise their syllabus on their own. Homework gives them an opportunity to develop their critical thinking skills and problem-solving abilities. I don't know if you agree with me on that.
I do not actually agree on those advantages, because let's look at it. We are talking. Let me tell you of a story. There's a time we were in school and my best friend had not done work. I had no idea what was going on in her life, because we were quite little. Everyone is your best friend, and you're just... And then I think she was just so fed up of continuously being caned and harassed every time that she did not do homework, but the teacher did not care to find out why. Every single day, she was the only person who never did her homework. Until when it reached a point and she just backed at the teacher and said, I go through so much. When I reach home, I'm just not a child. I have to do housework. So you see, not very many children have the privilege that when they leave home, they're able to sit down in a quiet, I mean, when they leave school, they're able to sit down at a table and do the homework, leave alone the kind of homework which Sarah and Madam here are advocating for, you know, the kind of homework that promotes family and parental bonding time. I'm talking about the homework that involves math, SST, English, CRA, and all these things. Now, not very many children have that kind of safe space where they're able to do homework. Some children, when they go back home, they start to wash clothes, they start to cook. They are parents. It does happen. It does happen in the rural setting. Most of the children who go to school, when they come back home, they have to fetch water. They are the ones supposed to cook dinner. Like all these things are, then on top of that, they have homework to think about. So schoolwork should be left at school.
Okay, the next one it teaches students to be responsible. Students learn to become independent learners as they do their homework without any help from a teacher, but they do get help from parents as well as their siblings. The other one is it boosts memory retention. Homework provides practice time to recall concepts discussed in class, thereby enabling students to memorize facts and figures taught at school. And I agree with this one. For one reason that, you know, sometimes at school, whatever you study, it's possible that you could forget. So when you go home and read a little bit, you know, you have some memory. You do remember a few things, and definitely does help, especially if you're doing weekly tests. There are schools that do weekly tests. So I think it helps in that regard. However, let's get to my next question. Do you think it's necessary that parents do weigh in, you know, in helping their children to do homework? Should it just be children to do the homework on their own? Should they get help or no help at all?
I think parents should be involved, because how else are you going to keep track of your child's studies? Or keep track of the fact that they're actually going to school and learning? How are you going to do that if you're not getting involved with them in homework? Even if you're just, you know, putting in a few minutes to ask them questions like, what did you study today? Or what is in your homework today? How much of your homework do you know? How much have you learned? The thing about parents is that we get so tired. At the end of the day, you have had a long day at work, you're chasing money, you're trying to put your house in order, you're taking care of the kids, and you just feel like, let me just have this, you know, this one off, let somebody else take care of it. But it's important for you as the parent to know that your child is actually getting the education that they need. So I think it's important that the parent has to get involved, at least follow up. You may not know the answers, because I don't know the answers. Many times, I'm telling you, 8 out of 10, I cannot sit
How do you go about that?
I don't. So I ask him, so what is the answer? I tell him, like,
went to school.
I tell him, no. I tell him, like, what I learned in my day is very different from today, which is not the truth. But I'm like, so you tell me
Again,
and so
another reason
say,
as to why homework as to why schoolwork shouldn't be carried home, because there are parents that do not actually know these things.
Shivad.
And now you're
Let me
putting
finish.
the parent in bad light,
No.
because to the child
This
you're
is-
looking
but
like
it's
you
not true.
you do not you do.
We don't know. I'm telling you, ask any parent now for basic P3 math. Basic P3 math.
It's very possible to not know.
What is happening? You know, what are they teaching these children? Are they flying rockets now? What is this? But it's, you know, it's just, but anyway, no, to go back to it, it's bonding time with your child. And you ask your child, I don't know the answer. What did teacher say? He's like, I don't remember. Oh, I don't get it. It's like, okay, let's first leave that alone. Okay, which one do you know? How much do you know of your homework? If there are 5 questions, how many of the 5 questions can he answer? Does he remember by himself? So you gauge. If it is just one, then perhaps there is a problem. Maybe your child is not interested in the subject. Maybe your child is distracted in class, or maybe the teachers are not giving them attention. You understand? You get to find out, and then you ask your child follow-up questions like, how come you only know one, or how come you don't know? Then you say, me, I don't like math, or me, I don't like SST. Me, I don't like science. I don't get the point. You get to understand, and so you find the problem areas in your child's academic system, and then you follow up with the class teacher, and then you say, I noticed that he has no interest in math or science or whatever the subject is, and then you ask the teacher, like, how is he in class? Can I talk to his science teacher or his math teacher? So that you gauge, so that you help your child. I am not for the mentality that some subjects are not necessary. That is not true. Everything is necessary. All those equations in math, all those physics things and chemical equations and whatever, that is all necessary, because you'll find it intertwined in whatever your interest is in the future. So at least what you should promote is that your child take a little bit of interest to learn one thing or two.
Okay, Ms. Elon, would like you to weigh in on this. Do you think parents should help their children when it comes to homework, doing homework?
I don't think parents would help children.
Yes.
Why? Because we are testing out on what they learned. In my thinking, I want children to learn to think by themselves. I don't want them to cram, but I want them to understand. We are creating a generation of people who have crammed work. So we have people who are clever but not wise.
Yeah.
You know, they are clever. When it comes to performance, they got D1s, yes. But the concept of understanding what they studied is not there.
Yeah.
So in my setting, actually, when we look around, most people didn't even go for holidays, and they were supposed to go back to school. You know, I'm this other disorganized parent. I told my son, P6, he's not going back to, he has to have holidays. And the school was so much on his case. But he's in P6. Holidays, he's supposed to concentrate and think. We happened to have a counseling session with a certain big school, a secondary school around Kampala, and the students were stressed, you know, with homework, with academics and the like. So I would think that once children come home, as a parent, I can probably help them think about what they studied and understand. I don't want to help them because I want to help their thinking. Actually, the new curriculum is very good. It's helping children learn how to think by themselves. So as a parent, really, they have to learn to stand alone. They have to learn to fly, you know, because the more we give them, is the more they'll become lame. The more we able them, is the more we shall disable them. So I'm that kind of parent who loves children to learn to think by themselves.
What about supervision? How do you know your child is actually acquiring the education that you are, you know, working tooth and nail for
if you're
them
not following up with on what they're doing?
To receive, if you're not following up on them? How are you following up and supervising and making sure that the literature that they're learning in school is actually age appropriate? There were instances in a school where, you know, parents found out that the children were being exposed to pornographic and material that was not appropriate for their age. So what about supervision? I am for them learning to think, but they cannot think if they're not challenged to think.
Yes.
If you do not hold them accountable. Okay, this is your homework. How much of it do you know? I'm not giving you the answers, but you tell me what you learned. What did you study today? We studied about a fish. What about a fish?
What about a fish? Yes.
What about the fish? How does it breathe? Yes. How does it move? Where does it live? Hold them accountable and follow up. Yes, let them think. Don't enable your children to give them answers. Many times the truth is we don't know, but ask them questions.
Okay. Yes. So many people have suggested or are saying that, you know what, I think homework should actually be banned. But for me, let me first talk a little bit about it. I think that people, or rather kids, can be given homework to do, like probably at the end of the week, because you've had 5 days at school of study and all that, and you have a long weekend ahead of you. 2 days are enough. Then they could be given, you know, homework to do over the weekend. And holiday package is also good. I'm all up for that, because kids do not have to be playing all through the holiday without going back. And yes, you have to you have to do classwork or schoolwork even when you are home on holiday.
It's kind of like a refresher course.
When you go on leave, do you continue doing office work?
Yes.
Because where does it come from? From our schools. You're on holiday. There is a reason why they have given you a break Why are they
No.
still giving you work? That is where we get it wrong. I think
Okay.
our children need to be taught that there is a time for everything.
Mm-hmm.
There is a time
But-
to
but-
relax, and it is okay.
May I
Okay,
please
so here's the
interject?
thing.
The
May I
reason
please-
as to why so many children are stressed and even resent going to school is because for them going to school is like a punishment. You leave school, you're on holiday, but you still have to think about school. You're on vacation with your family, but what is running through your mind? Oh God, I've not finished that holiday package. Why?
Okay, as we wrap up the conversation,
Why?
ladies, I'd like to ask you, as you give your final remarks, do you think that homework should actually be banned?
No. Again, no. And I say this,
That is
and I say
very
this,
strong.
listen, I say, look at the damage 2 years of the pandemic has done to our children.
Yeah.
They have had to go back to school and had to literally have a refresher course in their studies. What does this do? It trickles down to the whole economy and the country and everything at large. Where if we have a lapse even for a little bit, I'm not saying bombard them with everything, the whole syllabus.
It
I'm
can
not
be
saying that,
moderate,
but
yes.
moderations, and give them tasks that enable that trigger their interests. Do you understand what trigger their interests? That trigger them to seek knowledge, that trigger them to want to find out more, that trigger their curiosity. That is what it's supposed to be about. Homework is a refresher course to refresh you. I'm not for give them 100 pages, no, but you could give them an assignment. This is the book, read this book and interpret it when you come back. Let's have a public speaking, discussion about it. What did you learn from it? What are the lessons? Do you understand? How would you have written the ending? You know what? Let's keep our children learning and learning and learning, because if we don't, right now, if you have not noticed the damage that the pandemic being shut down for 2 years has caused to our children, then I don't know.
Yes, and also, by the way, the studies are showing that homework, it does in no way improve or help kids improve when it comes to schoolwork. So, Miss Ellen, should homework be banned?
There is something I would think about. I'll talk about it from the point of a psychologist. There are things we've really made a point, homework, yes. But do you realize that parents also don't know their children? Parents don't have time to understand. Yes, we're talking of the pandemic and the effects. The pandemic and the effects, most of the parents didn't know their children, and homes became a stressor. Because in most cases when they are home, they are looking at homework, piling them with homework. But there is something I would caution parents. It is important to understand who our children are. Because these children have issues they cannot express to us. For example, right from from P1, a child comes in at school and they're telling you, but teacher, I have a crush on someone. P1, that is something we just have to push parents to answer some of those questions, because children have issues that they cannot express to parents, because everything, the time they would have for it is homework. So I would think that parents would concentrate more on building the social abilities of the children during the holiday time, then probably a little of the school, because the child is not only built by academics.
That's true.
There are quite a number of things that build up a child, So I would think, let's have this well-rounded child. We have the academics, the teachers do their role, yes. The parents do their role, and the community does their role. Otherwise, we are having children who are lame, We are looking at children who cannot do. I was puzzled at one time when the children, the adolescents we have, don't have even the simplest common sense that we learned from home.
Even etiquette,
Okay.
because
Even
it's all
etiquette.
about school.
Yes.
But in one word, should homework should be banned?
Yes, if the kind of homework is not going to change to the one that we have been talking about this morning, then it should be removed, because there is more to life than just academics. I mean, our children's social skills need to be built. Our children's creative skills need to be built, and they will not be built by asking, what did Nambi forget? Also, you make us, the parents, look bad. If you're giving children work to do at home, send us the answers on WhatsApp so that we
Okay,
write
there
and
you
do
have
it.
it. But remember, you can continue this conversation on our social media platforms, and that is on Twitter at CTV Uganda. Uganda. Let us know, should homework be banned or should it actually be regulated or be moderated? Is that the word? Well, that wraps up the conversation that we had for you here on Our Views. This is Sunrise at Sea. Don't blink.
Well, before we do say goodbye, we want to ask Miss Ellen to give us a few remarks or even a word of encouragement or to the children that are going back to school.
Okay. Now, for the children going back to school, there is something, I want them to own their lives and to own their academics.
Yes.
It is not, they're not studying for me as a parent. I've given in the money, yes, but it's also important for them to own their academics, to own their lives. We have challenges in school whereby children think they are doing it for us, you know. But when they learn to own their lives, they will be accountable. Because I keep referring to my to my students as brands. If you're a brand who is going to be an international girl, Miss Universe, there are things you're supposed to do. For example, if you went in for drugs, will you achieve that? If you went in for pornography, will you achieve that? If you own your life and your brand, yes, a parent will not even have to chase you around. Teachers won't chase you around,
Absolutely.
but you'll help yourself make it.
Okay, thank you so much.
I think.
Thank you so much. And Sunrise at Sea has come to an end. Of course, we did kick off the show right from the hour of 7 a.m. up until now, when it's time to say goodbye. It's a brand new week and very chilly Monday morning. Do not forget that you can actually head out and get your favorite beverage, something to keep you warm. If you don't have bay, please warm yourself and get yourself your most cozy and comfortable sweater. And for the children going back to school, we'll miss you guys, but please study hard, read hard, and when they give you homework, head on to my Twitter platform so that I can contact that school and tell them there's a reason why we pay school fees. See you next time.